What's up, nerds? Welcome to GeekBeast, part of the Geekish Network. Today, we're not doing your daily rundown of geek news by Geek Like You. Instead, we're going to do a special edition. We're covering Sinners. You know, there's all the rave and all the talk right now, and we want to feel as though that we are participating in this conversation. We're going to give you our thoughts on Ryan Coogler's new film on Warner Brothers called Sinners. If you haven't seen it, you should see it, from my opinion. But I have a lovely host of people here, and let's see what they have to think about it as well. I'd like to introduce my first host, Randy. Say what's up to the people, Randy.
What it do?
I'd like to introduce my second host, Catherine. Say what's up to the people, Catherine.
Catherine from Memphis. Woo! Yeah.
My third host, Courtney. Say what's up to the people, Courtney.
Hello, hello.
And my boy from another station, Centel. Say what's up to the people, Centel.
Yo, what's crackling? Protect the chicken.
Last but not least, I'd like to introduce Rakai. Say what's up to the people, Rakai.
Hello, Governor.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to go Oakland too. With
I was going to talk about getting to the chicken. I was going to talk about getting to the chicken. You know what I'm talking about?
So Ryan Coogler introduced this movie last week to the whole entire world on Wednesday. When did you see it, Courtney? Courtney was the first person to see it. When did you see it, Courtney?
When did I see it? I think I saw it on Tuesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
Trey saw it last Monday.
Yes. Tell people where you saw it at, Courtney.
Yeah, they're special. They get the previews.
Tell people where you saw it at.
I saw it at IMAX headquarters.
Oh,
So
Ah,
she
Oh
saw true,
wow.
true
oh,
IMAX.
relax.
Yeah.
I
well,
did.
For y'all that didn't
pardon
know that.
me.
Yeah, I knew that.
That's
For
At
y'all
the
that didn't know that.
headquarters, I didn't know that
The
was such a thing.
headquarters. Yeah, yeah, that's the
Huh.
damn.
thing. That's the thing. For
Damn.
those that don't know what Sinners is about, Sinners is the new Ryan Coogler feature film that came out on Warner Brothers. That is about two brothers smoking stack. Their real names, what are their real names? Elijah,
Elijah?
Elijah.
Elijah and
Mm,
Elias.
yeah.
Elias. Yes, yes. And both of those characters are played by one actor, Michael B. Jordan. And it takes their time back when they moved back to Mississippi to actually start a juke joint, right?
Yep.
And right after World War One.
Mhm.
After World War One. And they came back to Mississippi after leaving Capone-ridden Chicago.
Yeah.
And we don't know what drove them back, but we know they went back there to
Mm.
open up this
We
juke joint.
we know.
Yep. And when they went back to Mississippi, they had to confront their past. What did y'all think of the setting of this film? The actual setting when you got your first scene. What did your first thoughts when you first saw it? Usually they give us black films
It's
they're back
shot.
in slavery or they're currently right now. And this is after World War One.
I would say I thought it was beautiful, and like you said, most of the time they give us these backdrops that are revolving around slavery, but never to see black people still out there picking cotton, to see the chain gang, but they're sharecroppers. So they had a daily quota. They went out there and picked because it was a job. This was 1932. So I just thought that the brilliance of the cinematography was just off the chain.
Yeah, it was shot so well. Like this is the most the way it was shot, and especially when they expanded out to like the full screen, depending on like if you went to IMAX or not, really made it very immersive. Like you were there, and they showed the beauty of the South in each shot.
Well, for me, from what I remember from that first shot, Chuck, because you asked about that first shot when he's driving, right? When
Mm-hmm.
he's
Mhm.
driving down that long, expansive road, and it was so beautiful because like you set it up like, you come in on the car, and by the time you get into like our hero character, so you can get a full image of him and like what he's been through, then to like over to like where this like the music is coming in, and you know that he's going into this church, and it from that moment I was hooked because it's just this sweeping look and follow through of this character, and you automatically want to know what happened. So, and that's the mark of a great storyteller.
I
So
thought
yeah.
Mississippi be Mississippian. And like it's regardless if it's 1933, like when I think of 1933, I think of like prohibition and things like that. And in cities, we got Tommy guns. But then like the big contrast to all of that is Mississippi. And I couldn't tell if it was 1935, 1895, 1765. And I thought that this movie did a great job of capturing the discrepancy in what that was. So I'll say Mississippi be Mississippian, and Ryan Coogler did a great job of illuminating that.
Well, let me
Definitely
throw
had
something in
not.
there right quick because I got family that's in Mississippi, and I thought the exact same thing until I spent some time down there. I just knew it was going to be, four little girls in Mississippi burning. I thought the same thing, but in the larger cities, Jackson and Hattiesburg, it's not like that. It's like any city anywhere else. But this was shot specifically in the Delta, which is down in the
Yep.
in the swamps and the bayous and all that boy. So yeah, this is different. So
It's
I
specifically in
I agree with you.
Clarksdale, Mississippi. It's
Yeah,
Clarksdale,
Clarksdale.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Viewers of this movie seem to question the genre of the movie itself. If you had three words at most, what would you call this genre? What this movie
um,
represents?
some people have referred to it as like a gothic noir.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I know that's not like three words, and those are two, but like
That's
probably
fine.
some.
Up to three
I,
words. Don't go more than three words.
I guess
Finish the
Southern
sentence.
Gothic noir was what I
Mm-hmm.
would call it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Anybody else? What would y'all call the movie?
I actually like Catherine's description because anybody who knows me knows that I don't do horror movies, but I couldn't wait to see this. And after seeing it, I can't classify it as horror. It had some horror elements, but it wasn't a horror movie. But I I don't know what to call this. So I like what Catherine said. I'm gonna work with that.
I would say vampire noir, like
Yeah.
because I mean, it does have that southern. It's not quite for me. It's not quite what I envision Gothic to be, but it does have this you know, uh, like vintage vampire kind of noir to it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
it's set in the past. It's set in this you know American history of the South, but it's definitely specifically vampire.
Yeah. So Southern Gothic is actually an allude to like the creature, the eeriness and ghost style of like the South, kind of like True Blood and other
Hmm.
genres like that.
Yeah,
So,
interview
Yeah,
with the vampire.
mhm.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally understand. I'm just saying, like for me, I don't like. I would just rather call it like the classic vampire, but that's like I said, that's for me.
Gotcha.
I like how y'all phrase that. I would put another spin on it. I say it's a Gothic noir musical. The music was so important. The music was the main
Yeah,
character here.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it really was a pivotal.
Yeah,
The genre is it's not new.
it
I
isn't.
think one of the bigger ones that somebody just said, I forgot who it was. He said True Blood. True Blood, I think was may have been the first to kind of like bring it to like the mainstream. But there's comics like Bitterroot that's doing it. The new retelling of Interview with the Vampire does a really good job. And I have heard Southern Gothic before, and I do, and I'm kind of happy that in a lot of those examples that are given with True Blood, the comic book Bitterroot, Interview with the Vampire, now Sinners, it's very black. Like we exist and we're prominent. So I see it as an opportunity to just take over that space.
Let me
Yeah.
ask y'all something real quick then. So when somebody calls it horror, can we be like, nah, that ain't it, homie?
It
Or would
Yeah, it
horror
doesn't
be
really fit
accurate?
horror
Because I
Yeah.
for
keep
me.
hearing horror and I'm like, I don't know if I call this horror, but I keep hearing
Mm.
it. I just don't have I didn't have a better word into Catherine to you all. But so when I hear horror, I can be like, nah, it ain't that.
I mean,
We had
I think it
we
is
had
because it does
somebody
deal with blood, guts, vampires. Like there's violence. Like it is horror. It's just not the mainstream like jump scare kind of horror. But it make no mistake, it is a horror film. It is.
oh no,
yeah.
because we had somebody that jumped in the Discord and was talking about they weren't sure if they were going to see it because it was horror. And I don't know, I was the first one to be like, "Nah, you need to go see this. You know, I don't even do horror, and this is okay. You can go see this." So I don't know if I would classify it horror. It's got horror elements in it, but not
It's more
horror.
psychological, but
I was thinking psychological.
Yeah. I mean, if Get Out is horror, True Blood is considered a horror franchise. Dust to Dawn is considered horror.
Is
I
This
can
would
True
see
It's
it.
Blood
be.
more
horror?
like, yeah, but it's
Is True
more
Blood horror?
thriller than psychological because it's like
Mhm.
Silence of the Lambs is a thriller. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a
Like
thriller.
like
Mhm.
it's not necessarily like this for me, like the psychological, I don't get that element of it because it is like it could be like Silence of the Lambs could be considered a psychological thriller because it's
Yes.
really rooted in the mystery of and solving the case of Buffalo, like Buffalo Bill and Hannibal Lecter. Like this, it's not really so much about solving anything. It's really just about one violent night
Yes. Yes. Speaking of this one
and
violent night, yeah,
surviving
surviving.
the violent night.
Speaking about this one violent night, in this one day, we got a full cast of characters thrown at us. Did you feel a sense of connection to the characters through their actions in this day?
I felt like I had like elements of like their back. Like I know it didn't dive too deep in their backstory, but it told a lot without saying a lot. If that makes sense, I'm trying to find the better word of
Mm-hmm.
saying it. But I got a sense of who they were best based off of how they interacted with each other and this
Mm-hmm.
community and this town. And
Yes.
just a lot of the references to like food, music, and like culture of the South, particularly Black South, but it also had elements of different cultures, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoke and what's his name?
Stack.
Smoke and Stack really resonate with me as in the characters because there's no doubt that they are gangsters. It is no doubt that they are criminals, but they have a emphasis on community, the community that they live in. I just remember when they were talking with Sammy, one of them, when I can't remember which one it was, he was like, "Nah, you're not really built for this, son.
Smoke.
You come from good parents. You got a good life. And if I catch you down here, I'm gonna knock you out." And he's like, "Ah, no, 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 no. Like, no, if I catch you down here, I'm gonna knock you out." Or when he pulls up with the little girl and he's like, "Yeah, I'll pay you 10 cents." And she's like, "Cool." He's like, "Nah, you never take the first order." He's teaching her how to negotiate.
Yeah, he taught her how to
Yep.
negotiate.
Yeah, teaching her how to
He's teaching her
negotiate. Like,
business.
her
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
right? And then even the dude who pulls up and tries to steal his stuff, he shoots one of them in the ass. Then he shoots the other one as a message, like, "Yo, don't ever mess with the brothers." But then he goes into the store and he pays for him to have a doctor to get him taken care of. So it's like, I like this dichotomy that we get with like these gangsters, but still are deeply rooted in overseeing and contributing to the community. I thought that was very interesting.
But
Yes.
let me add just a little bit. Like, let's not try and paint them as like they're the saviors of the community. Like, you know, hey,
They're
they
Robin Hood.
are gangsters. They brought up under Capone. They're selling an illegal substance because I think this is before Prohibition.
Yeah,
and
they're selling
alcohol-
drinks.
and alcohol is the equivalent in terms of an illegal substance as things that are illegal today. Fent, crack, cocaine, all that other. It's illegal. This is an illegal thing that you are selling to the community. They're not saints, and they came here to make a profit. Let's not get it twisted. It's no different than the gangster that's going down the block and selling Christmas turkeys. Like, it's cool, and it's cool that you got a good connection to the community, but they're here to make a profit. Like,
Yes, they are. There's a lot of things going on in this film. Number one
Yeah.
is we know that they are soldiers. They were soldiers before they linked up with Capone. We know that because they traveled the world. And the fact that they were doing the juke joint just for a small stint to escape from there to go further south to hide amongst free blacks. Something told them Hattiesburg and wherever they're going further south in Mississippi, there was a safe haven for black folks. And they were going to make enough money off the juke joint from their illegal money, clean wash the money to go somewhere else.
But not only that,
Yeah, but
I was just gonna say that them being in the Delta, I think Smoke had a real conversation, or maybe it might have been Mary that had a conversation with Stack, talking about why they were down there. And that's because they were actually on the run.
On the run.
Yeah, they stole from the Irish and the Italian mafia in Chicago. And and I think she said that they were going to blame it on each other in a war. And by the time they found out, it wasn't either one of them, they Smoke and Stack probably would have made their money back and, like you said, probably moved on to another place and stayed elusive or whatever. But yeah, they stole that whole truck full of stuff. That was all stolen from the mobs up north. So
yeah, I just wanted to go back to what God, I have words. What Randy was saying about community, and I do think that it's a little bit of both what Centel and Randy were saying, because yes, they're gangsters. Yes, they're there to make money, but at the same time, they care about raising the next generation. Because if not, he would have just taken that little girl's money. He's like, "I'll give you 10 cents," and been done with the conversation. But it wasn't like that. Like, he cared about this town because it's his town. Do you know what I mean? And the same with like his cousin. There's a moment when his cousin, once he realized how good his cousin was, and that his brother told what Stack had told him, he was like, nah, you done.
You done.
You done.
Yeah.
Like, because that's not who you are.
You're not built for
You know
this.
what I mean? Like this, I don't even want to see you in this. I want you to have your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's someone, yes, it's family, but at the same time, that's someone who's looking big picture, because he was always the visionary. He was always the one who could see past the right now into like what's gonna happen if I do this here, if I lay these seeds here. When I next time I come back to this town, I expect to see even more done.
You're
You
right.
know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stack was the visionary. He could see the big picture.
Yeah, Stack.
But
Stack was, and then
but
Smoke was the
but
other one.
They are criminal.
Smoke was the one told Sammy, nah, this ain't for you, because Smoke was the protector. He'd always protected Stack. You know, actually right up into the end. So you
Yeah,
know.
well,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny when you said visionary or sold a vision, because he actually makes that quote when he's a vampire. It's like no one can see the vision, no one can see the big picture. But
Oh, so funny.
He does
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah,
He
no,
does
I had
say
him
it.
reversed though. Stack is the one that becomes a vampire. Smoke is the one I was talking about. Smoke is the
Yeah.
one that was like caring for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Stack is the one that brought him with him. Like when he first started playing in the
Right.
car, Stack looked over him like, "Oh, we
Well,
gonna
he
make
saw
some
dollar
money."
signs. He
Yeah.
was like, "We about to get paid," and Smoke
Yeah,
was like, "Hold up, hold up, hold
Hold
up.
up.
You can play tonight, and then you gonna take your ass back to church."
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know you where
Yeah.
you come from. You my people, yeah. And I
Yeah.
just thought that to me, that was interesting because I know those guys. I know Stack and
That's
Smoke who treat the
Same.
community that way.
that's
Same.
what I wanted to
Why,
get
when he
at.
was
Yeah.
telling him, when he was telling Sammy, you're not built for this. You better be
Yeah.
back in church.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that guy. And it resonated.
Yeah.
Yep, I got a cousin
now-
like that.
now
what I
Drake
wanted
did
to
that
say-
to me when I was 15.
You
Go
gotta
What I wanna
follow.
say-
Yup.
You can't come to these parties. Go
Yup.
home.
What I
And
wanna
was like,
say-
"What
Get up out of here. And I'm like, I want to stay.
What?
I'm not gonna
What,
tell
Chuck?
you
I want to say
again.
something.
You gotta
What you
go.
gonna say,
Randy,
Chuck?
Randy, I want to say something, Randy.
Go ahead.
Calm down. I want to continue the conversation. To go in on that is like for us, this is very familial. This is like an inside conversation, the inside jokes. I happen to be with some audience members that had no idea of the inside jokes we had. So these characters were familiar with us because we know these characters just based on this one day. We know which cousin it is. We know which uncle it is. We know which friend it is. But for some people, they don't understand that. Do you think this story conveyed enough for them? Or was this just our inside jokes? Like, this was a love letter to black people for black people.
I feel
Trey,
like it
go
was
ahead.
for us
Go s-
bias.
Yes, and one moment in particular, they included the Irish. Now, for those that may not know, before racial identity was such a big thing in America, the Irish were considered less than. And for our white brothers and sisters who were watching this, Coogler was brilliant in bringing in some of the Irish music, Irish culture, and at least the Irish identity to be like, hey, you know, we've been boo-booed on too as well. So we're not too different. Now, for many members of the black community, we all saw it as just white folk. But for those that are a little bit more sensitive to what was going on in the Irish community, I think it could have hit home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to say, I think the thing that was really interesting about this, and especially those of us that have a little bit more years on us, where we can look in our own families and see these particular characters and be like, yeah, that's what's name in my family. The thing is, that also doesn't exist. And I think that's a love letter to what the community used to be, because those type of communities do not exist where the community takes care of its own, you know, on a very small scale. It still exists, but for the most part, the black community, the village that takes care of a child, is not there anymore. And I thought that was a brilliant way to show that this is how it used to be, where everyone took care of everyone. Hell, the Chow family, you know, because it was about their coins. They had a store on both sides of the street. It was about
That was
their
my
coins.
favorite shot. That was
Yeah.
my favorite shot
Yes.
in that whole film because
We'll get
it
there.
set up
We'll get
so
there.
much.
We'll get there. We'll get
Mhm.
there. We'll
Cool,
get there.
but you can say we get there, and by the time we get there, not everybody else has said the thing that I wanted to say. So
Go ahead and say what
Well,
you want
I
to
wasn't
say.
going to go in on that. So, Courtney, that's all you. I wasn't going to go on it, but I was just saying
no.
how
Yeah.
in the community where we could pick out certain people, and I kind of feel bad, like to what Chuck was saying, that I think to a certain degree that many younger people that are coming to watch this film, that'll go completely over their head because the community hasn't been like that for them, and they don't have any real frame of reference besides what they see in movies, where this is a lived-in experience for us.
Yeah, I think that happens. I think that happened to the working class community and the middle class community. It bottomed out. I just spent a weekend in
Watts.
Watts, and I watched them raise four of their kids into Morehouse and Spelman, and they pushed them into it, and the community was there. We showed up. The community came out, 100 Morehouse students, and they didn't even need to have the police. They were like, "Why the police here? This is family."
Mm-hmm.
They're the reason here. And they took them around to the gardens. They were gardening and cleaning up the community. That's what they did. And
That's
I
beautiful.
see that's amongst, I think, lower class people where they have to depend on each other. Sure, there's infighting and it gets very violent, but they have to depend on each other. I think that's something we lost as we moved up in the echelon of economics. Because
Mm,
even Remick, the white Irishman, ran up on those
yeah.
white people, and
Mm-hmm.
he's Irish, and they knew it, and they were going to let him in. He saw the clans, saw the clan robe, and was like, "The Indians are after me.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta protect me."
Mm-hmm. He played
He
on their
leaned,
prejudices.
yeah, he leaned in on their prejudices, try to get
Mm-hmm.
community from them, and he did get community from them. And when they showed up, when the Chickasaw showed up, they were like, "Yo, are y'all
Y'all know,
harboring this
y'all
guy?"
know, y'all know what y'all done.
Yeah, and they knew they had him because they had the vultures on the roof,
Mm-hmm.
and they followed the vampires. So it was like, y'all gonna let us in or not? And she had the gun pointed on. It was really interesting. It was
Yeah.
really interesting how community plays such a big role.
Well,
Now we're gonna get to
it's
Courtney's statement
oh
and
yeah,
let
yeah.
Courtney
Come on.
go about, because that's one of my favorite scenes too, Courtney. That was
Really?
probably like my favorite scene. The
Okay.
child restaurants. I mean the child stores, not even restaurant stores.
Uh, I just thought it was such a brilliant way to
Hmm.
set up that family because they are such a play a pivotal role in this story, and to showcase them in that way where you start in the one store and you
The
follow
black
the
store.
daughter to the other store, and then you go back to go back and watch the mother then walk across back that to show their business and the way, not just their enterprise, I should say, because it was literally the most brilliant way I thought to introduce these two characters that embedded within this black community, and to showcase them and their finances, their business savvy, the way that she and he negotiated it just went to show you everything he was teaching the little girl, you know.
Hmm.
It was such a
It reinforced
powerful
it.
moment and reinforced the community between those two races, and how there was like camaraderie, not animosity,
Yeah.
you know.
And it showed us a couple of things too. Because when they went into the white store, the mother Grace wasn't talking to anybody. She was just behind the counter standing. The
Mm-hmm.
white people didn't do anything. And when she came over and she saw Smoke, and she was like, "Oh, what's up, boy?" Like it was like, "That's my homie. That's
Yeah.
my husband's friend." On the black side of the street. And it shows you how segregated we were, that there was a black side of the street and there
Yeah.
was a white side of the street. And the white people didn't care about what was going on the black side of the street because he just shot two people. White people didn't care about that. That's
But
not
yet
our
they
business. That's
roamed
the
in
black
between
side.
both
Weren't they really
worlds.
friendly though, guys?
They roamed back in between both
What's
worlds,
that?
you know.
I'm pushing back a little bit on them being friendly. I don't know if they were there to exist simply from a commerce perspective, or were they really a part of the community. I'm not necessarily so that they genuinely had, I don't want to say respect because I don't want to say disrespect, but they truly cared about the community more than having alignment for financial reasons, and they knew how to speak the language of the black community.
I agree with you
And
110% on that, Randy.
and and to further enhance that point, and I'm glad that you said that, Randy,
Yeah.
because that very point showed up when the shit hit the fan. Miss
Yeah.
Chow said, "Oh, this ain't our fight. Go get the truck. We out
Facts.
of here." That whole thing of being an ally, Randy, you absolutely
Yep.
right.
Right
Listen,
out the
we
window.
speak the language of the blacks. We here, we down, we at the juke joint, and we grooving. Uh-oh, there's a problem. Let's
Yeah.
go. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Yeah, we not down with y'all. That's them's y'all's problems.
That
even
was
to the
If
that
point
was
that
you had realized that there was a problem, you would have stayed too if it was a chance for you to go and get your car.
here's the
Mhm.
thing.
I'm not
Here-
debating the I think that you're right. I absolutely
here-
think you're right. I'm just saying. You wouldn't
well,
leave?
on the other
Hey,
side,
Kathy wants to get in a second, guys.
Hold on.
On the other side of the Chows, the person who was the most maligned in there was the one who was only partially black, and that's Mary. And she was more of an ally until she, you know what I'm saying, found her on the wrong side of a bite mark. She was more of an ally than the Chows was. It just didn't seem like that because you thought, who's this
Hold on.
random white girl who's walking through here? But she passed for white. Her
Yeah.
mama was
Yeah.
black. Her mama raised the twins.
She
You
was
know what
she
I'm
was
saying?
she was a octoroon.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
a
a
what?
imitation of
Eighth.
life.
She was an
She
eighth
could
black.
pass for white.
She was an eighth black. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Catherine, what you gonna say?
I was gonna add to the point of the Chow's like the allyship thing. So that was also referenced when she let all those vampires come in. She's like, all right, come on in. That was another reference to like allyship, like shit hitting the fan once. You know, her problem persisted. So she let
Yeah.
everybody in that room like down, just like yeah.
She was willing to sacrifice everybody in that room just when for her problem. Yep.
Yeah.
What, to get her husband?
Yeah.
She was willing
and
to
her
sacrifice
daughter.
everybody to get right, but mainly the main thing was her husband was out there.
Well,
Yeah.
but she at this point she already knew that he was a vampire. He was
He was
gone.
vampire.
But when they
She didn't
threatened her
know that.
daughter, yes, she did.
Yes.
Because
He
when
hadn't
her
come back
husband,
yet.
Yeah.
No,
she did. By the time she let everybody in, her husband had already come back. Remember,
Yeah.
because
He was saying-
Cornbread
Oh,
was
yeah, when
attacking
she
the
let
dude that they
everybody
set
in.
outside.
Yeah,
Remember
when
they
she
set
let
the
everybody
dude
in.
outside that was that spilled the wine. They thought he was a vampire too.
Oh, yeah.
But they,
And Cornbread
he also,
attacked him, and her husband walked up, and she's
He was
like,
eating on him.
and he's like, "Come on, I got the truck." And she's like, "You don't see that?" He's like, "Oh yeah, that ain't nothing. He just hungry."
well, they
She
also
knew. She saw it in his
also
eyes. He was gone.
he's also talking about like how she liked to be licked and stuff, and the eye flickering thing happens.
Yeah.
So like, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. And not only that though, a lot of reason she gave in because she was scared for her daughter. She was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. She was like,
Yeah, but
they're
she
gonna take the whole
sacrificed
village.
all these people who had saved her life and was, you know,
We gotta kill
just-
them. She said it too. We gotta kill them. We can't
you
let them
don't
get to the
invite him
city.
in with your stupid ass.
Oh, yeah. She was done for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Speaking of that, we're talking about scenes that actually impacted us. Were there any other scenes that you saw stand out?
the one that everyone's referencing on TikTok and social media. It's not only just like a very the guitar scene where it kind of blends like the different timelines, but not only was it like a powerful moment and a reference to just like Black music history,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
time history, beautifully like beautiful sound design, everything. It was also a cool reference to the project I'm working on, and just kind of reminded me of like what I'm working on, like Black culture and different things, and level of immersion, and how we're all connected by time and music. And like even our roots in music from Africa from the beginning to like mid and then the end. So
I like that particular scene. That was my favorite scene. Just because not only blending music from the past, which they went, all the way back to Africa, going to the future to, you know what I'm saying? There was dudes in there sea walking and Memphis juking, and you know what I'm saying? The whole thing. I saw Crips and Bloods was over playing at the craps table or whatever. They blended all that, but not only that. So when you saw the Chows come through, I saw some kung fu. I saw,
yeah.
you know, what I'm saying the Chinese, the ballet. You know what I'm saying? The different, and the thing about music is it does blend so many genres. That's why the Irish, when they were outside singing their jig, and now all the people are vampires, they're like, well, why are they jamming to that? Because still, it's about the music connects everyone. It's just different musics. Hell, they're Irish and a couple clans people, but they were attracted by Sammy and the music, that deep blues. And listen, Sammy and that Miles Catan, bless his heart, he was throwing down in that scene. Did y'all know that he learned to play the guitar for this movie?
Yes.
Yep. It was like 6
It's like his
weeks.
first role, right?
Incredible.
'Cause
Yeah, this is his first role.
he
Yes.
killed it. The
Yeah.
actor
Amazing.
Even the,
Yeah.
the little chick that was his girlfriend, she killed it when she got up and sang. When they was stomping, I was like, "Ah, they are doing it in here."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it goes like the music. It showed actually the difference between music too. Because when the Irishman with the white people did show it the first time, and they came up with white folk music,
Mm-hmm.
and they met at the door. We were
Mhm.
like, that's not quite what we're doing in here.
Yeah.
We're
Nah.
not doing that.
No, there's
Yeah.
a lot of
We're
other
not
places
doing
down
that
the
at
street.
all.
You can go do that down
Yeah,
there.
you go there. That's what they told them. Y'all go down the street. That's where they're doing that. Matter of fact, we're not gonna let you up in here because you're gonna do that. That's gonna attract them, and that brings a whole heap of problems on us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't
I
want
ki-
that. We don't want that.
kind of I kind of laughed when they did that and they said peace and love. It's basically like peace and love.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
But when they had turned everybody to vampires and Remick was doing his natural
And he did his
Irish
Irish
gig
dance.
thing,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
they was
doing
turning
the
up
Irish
outside.
walk. Like
He did
what's
it.
the
He was out there. He
The
was out there
Irish river
river
dance.
dancing his ass off.
He was
Irish
like,
river
yeah.
dance.
Hey, I-Town in the house. Like, yeah, he was killing it.
Yeah. His
I
Irish river
love
dance is dope. It's good.
yeah, I love that. I got into a kick after like St. Patrick's Day last year and just went down a whole like Irish Celtic thing. So I'm like, yeah, I got some Irish. So that was great.
I
Yes.
liked every scene Delroy Lindo was in. Delroy
Yeah.
Lindo to me is a quiet champion that has not, from at least from my socials that I've been seeing, has not been getting, you know,
His
his
flowers.
flowers. Yeah, his flowers
Yeah.
for this. It was I loved him. Loved Delroy Lindo.
Yeah.
On the strength of that, there was one scene, wasn't my favorite scene, but it was close to the top for me. When they passed the chain gang, Delroy Lindo was in the car, and when he told the story about how he knew the guys in the chain gang and the guy that played in the band with him, and they hung him and stole his money, that almost made my eyes sweat. And I was like, "Oh, you dirty mother!" Oh,
Mhm.
that was a powerful scene,
That
and
was
you needed
powerful.
somebody with that kind of maturity,
Gravitas,
that gravitas, like Delroy Lindo to tell that story. So that was a fantastic scene.
You know what scene stuck out to me?
What's that?
When Remick had the chorus of black people behind him, he went up to that door and said, "You think they're gonna really let you have this? They're gonna
Uh,
take this like they take everything."
and then when he
Wait,
told him
And you thought
that
this was
dude
a
was
safe
the
place for
Grand
you? You
Dragon,
built you you built you a safe place. You said you don't want the Klansman. He was the Grand Dragon,
yeah, he said
and
this
you
is
bought
nephew
it
right
from.
here.
And the
Yeah,
interesting thing about that, while he's a villain and he's a vampire, everything he said was 100% true.
true. Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
we
Yep.
we
It
can
was
work
all
together to get all this
facts.
cleaned out. We can get all of them.
Now
Yep.
here's what's interesting about that too. He's a vampire, so that makes him he's a monster. He's the villain to us. But really, Beauregard, Hildegard, whatever, the dude who sold Smoke and Stack, the warehouse, that was the real villain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remick wanted the world to be free. Everybody, if y'all are on the vampires, the only thing you're gonna have to give up is not seeing the sun. You might have to bite a person a time or two or whatever. But I don't care. I don't see. Listen, as a matter of fact, when he told Smoke, he's like, listen, that dude's the Grand Dragon. Don't worry. I'm about to get his ass
I
too.
do
Like,
like
yeah,
that
I'm
part.
about
I
to
can't
get
lie.
him. I'm about to
Yeah.
get all of them because
All
yeah,
of them.
yeah, I'm about to get all of them. Yeah.
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 I think both things can be true. Like he can be the villain and telling the truth about it too. And the clan people can be the villain in it. I think that's what makes this story so layered and complicated and brilliant all at the same time.
But that goes to like, was he really the villain? Because it kind of, to Trey's point earlier, Smoke and Stack were just as much the villains in their own right too. We are aligned with them, and we, enjoy their story, following their story. It's like someone said to me a long time ago, if you were watching The Walking Dead today and they chose to follow Negan and them's group as the main group, then you look at everything that Rick Grimes and them did as they the villains. So it just depends on
That's
whose
true.
story you following.
Yeah, that's true.
It is perspective. It is
It
all
is.
based on perspective.
Trey,
Which is
there's
another
something-
strength of storytelling. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Catherine.
No, Trey, you were gonna
Trey
say
was
something?
gonna say
Oh,
something.
sorry.
Oh, it was just gonna be super quick. A scene that stood out to me was when the Native Americans showed up, and
Yeah.
they looked at show up at the door, and the surmise he was pretty much like, "Yo, you let him in," and his homeboy was like, "Hey, sun's coming
Sun's
down."
coming
He
out.
was like,
Yep.
We're gonna pray for you.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That, oh my god.
Yeah.
He did try. He
Yeah.
tried to help her.
He
He
rolled up.
tried. He gave it a good. He gave it a couple good tries.
We
And was
needed
like,
more
you know
from
what?
them. We needed more from them. I
I
didn't think
wanted
we
to
got
see them
enough
come
from
back.
them. Yeah, I wanted to see where they played out in it too.
Because they were the
I
only
feel-
ones who knew. They
They
knew
knew.
I feel
exactly what was going on,
Yeah.
except
They knew
for
who he was.
what's it what is Stacks, no, Smoke's baby mama, wife?
Oh,
Wunmi?
Annie.
Wunmi, what's her character's
Annie.
Annie.
name? Annie.
Wumi Mosako. Yeah, Annie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Wunmi. Like, first of all, I didn't really love her in Loki, but I did enjoy her in Lovecraft, and I
Yes.
really enjoyed
Yeah.
her in this. I
Mhm.
thought she was so incredible. That scene, the scene when he comes to her house for the first time after like laying the flowers on the grave, that was so powerful and like
Mhm.
unexpected. The love scene was unexpected and really sensual, like really sensual and exciting. You know what I mean? Like you don't really see things like that in no, I'm saying like in terms of black love, it's usually
Yeah.
No,
just
it
like
was great. I agree
yeah,
with you.
okay,
It
okay,
wasn't
okay.
exciting for me.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it
it was.
was as a filmmaker, as a
But it wasn't.
filmmaker for
It
me,
wasn't
yeah.
raunchy. It was
Yeah.
a classy way of showing it, and I
Right.
appreciated that. So
And
And
yeah.
that's what
can
I'm
we
And
say
saying. Like,
she's the
well,
hero?
huh?
Can
What?
we say she's the hero?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. She knew like the answers to a lot of things too. Um, I would, yeah, and it's also I heard notes about this. It's rare to see like this is a love. They're both in love, and she's a dark skinned black woman who's like she's not sorry.
Plus
I feel like
size.
I'm like
Voluptuous.
yeah
Plus size.
yeah
Yes. She
voluptuous, but
BBW.
BBW yeah, but like I feel like you don't see that a lot in
You don't?
like mainstream Hollywood
No, they look like
movies.
Hallie Steinfeld. Yeah. The
Yeah.
yeah, you
Zendayas of the
don't
world.
Yeah.
Hmm.
exactly. You don't really have that showcased. And I think that was part of the reason why I love that scene, not just because she was really the caretaker and like our mystical guide, I'll say, who was
Yep.
like really the one who was in the mix. Like she knew about like the bones and the haints, and like when
It's
she
Yep.
yeah.
to see her throwing bones, I was like, that took me back
Hmm.
to like
Mhm.
from
Like,
all the
baby, need a
August
new pair of
Wilson plays
shoes.
that I did, and like Gem of the Ocean, and like all of that. It just brought back the whole community, and to see that love carried through, like it
Yep.
wasn't something that was just passive, and it wasn't something that like was fleeting. Like
Yeah.
they clearly still loved each other.
Mhm.
It's just he was still broken. Not that she wasn't. She was reserved. She had made peace, and he was still mourning the loss of their child, which
Yeah.
I think that kept him away from her in a
Mhm.
Yeah,
sense,
because he ran from that grief. He ran and
Exactly.
yeah.
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 He ran
And
to the
whereas she
military.
stayed, but she never let him go. And to say that she had been keeping him and Stack by an extension safe.
Safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Mhm.
he pulled that necklace, I was like, what you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He ripped it off when he
But he
did the
did it by
final
It was
choice.
scene.
time
He
to go.
wanted
Yeah.
to be
It was
done.
time for him to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
had
He
he had
wanted
nothing
to be
left.
done. He had,
I
you
He
know,
I,
lost
he had
her. He
made his
lost her
peace.
and his brother. He didn't have nothing left.
I love the
Yeah.
fact that he left his brother and what Haley Stanfield's character, what was
Mary.
her name? Mary.
Mary.
He
Yeah.
left them left them inside of the sawmill and fought for them on the
No,
outside.
Mary ran.
They
That
ran.
punk ass
Oh,
Yeah.
ran.
Yeah.
yeah,
They
but
both
No, but he
ran.
left Stack. But
he left
Mary's
Stack.
ass
Yeah,
ran.
yeah. We left Stack. He left Stack up in there, and he fought to the end for him. And he
So
always
let me
said
ask.
that. He always said
So
that. I'll defend
yeah,
my brother. This is what I do.
he said.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. I asked. I think Trey. I asked somebody this question. What do you think about Smoke's love for his people? Because you knew that Annie was the hero. Because when Smoke, she made him promise, if I get bit,
Yeah.
you take me out.
Mhm.
Yep.
When Smoke took her out to bid her wish, you could tell that broke him all the way.
Mhm.
Oh,
But
yeah.
It
even
broke all four
remember,
of them.
but remember, Mary lost it too. Remember,
Yeah.
Mary lost it.
So did
Yeah.
Stack. Yeah, Mary
Yeah.
lost it. Like that was her
Because it's to be
family.
us four.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Yeah.
It
us
was supposed
four.
to be the four
Yeah.
of us.
Right.
That was the whole
Yeah.
reason that they wanted her turn.
Mhm.
They like we turn her like she gets turned.
You
Then
gonna
he'll
turn.
go.
Smoke could do it. Yeah.
He'll do
Yeah.
it.
So
Yep.
so what does that say about the love that he have? He took out Annie when she was turned, but he couldn't take out Stack. What does that say?
She asked him to. She made him promise.
Yeah, she made him
Yeah.
promise.
But you think that's
yeah.
the only reason that he?
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
100%.
Stack was already
Yeah.
turned as well, and Mary
He wasn't gonna
yeah.
go back on
Mhm.
his word to her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She
He
said,
made
"I got
promise.
somebody waiting for me," and he
Yeah, you
knew.
know who it is.
Right.
And he knew who
And
that
he's
was.
waiting for you. She
And
said
he's waiting. Yep.
he's waiting
Yeah,
for you
On the other side.
She knew his.
on the other
She also
side.
knew his. She knew his fate when she threw the bones too. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of a reference to
Oh, I
them.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, she
Kathy.
knew
I
his
didn't
fate.
think about that
Yeah.
at all.
She
Good.
did know.
Oh yeah.
She knew
Oh,
her as a head.
nice.
I didn't
Yeah.
see that either.
So
Oh,
when she threw
Yeah,
the
she
Ooh,
bones,
when she threw the bones when he first got
Yep.
there, or in the
Yep.
in the
When he
Mhm.
first got there, when they first
Mhm.
got there,
Mhm.
she knew that they were both gonna die.
yep.
oh
Yeah.
man.
That's why I say, yeah, Mary is the hero of this story.
Yeah.
He is the
Annie,
hero.
yeah.
Annie.
Yeah,
Annie.
Annie.
Yeah.
Annie is the hero of this
She
story.
knew. She's the
Mhm.
oracle.
Yeah.
She's the
Yeah.
oracle in
Yeah.
all of this.
For some reason, you might
Yeah.
think that Smoke is the hero, but no,
No,
it's
it's
No.
Annie.
Annie.
No, it's
Yeah.
Annie,
Yeah.
hands
Yeah,
down. Like she
absolutely.
came correct the whole
Absolutely.
time.
Every
She was like,
single
"Nah, you
time.
can't come back in here." My favorite was Cornbread when she was like, "Go on, let me in." She was like, "You've been running around here," or like Smoke said, "You've been running around up here." She's like, "You can't come in. Why you gotta have somebody invite you in now?"
Right.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
it was on the trailers and stuff, but Cornbread's whole performance outside the door was hilarious to me.
It was great.
We're supposed to be
Yeah.
and it's be rude to go in. We supposed to be to each other.
Yeah.
Like that was hilarious.
Mhm.
When
I felt
Smoke
so
pulled-
bad for him.
Yeah.
He
When
had a
Smoke
wife,
pulled up on him and his
pregnant
wife
wife.
when they was picking. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Pregnant wife. Yep.
He had a pregnant
you
wife,
seen
know.
they was sharecropping. You see when Stack said how much he gonna pay him, she said, wait, how much?
But how much we
what'd you say?
talking
Yeah.
about?
How is she
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about?
She told him what he could do
Yeah.
after that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but
might
she
put
was
a
like,
mouth
how
on
much
it.
we talking about before you leave? I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
But
You
again,
gonna make
he knew-
enough money, have your wife put her mouth
Yeah.
on you. She said, you better go
Yeah.
get
They
that
knew their
money.
people. They knew their community. They knew
Oh,
their
yeah.
people. Yeah.
I would also add to.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna make a. This is kind of a different subject, but when you're talking about music, and then you're talking, I'm bad with the characters' names. The main bad vampire
Remick.
and like Remick, and trying to get guitar guy. I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry. Guitar
Sammy.
guys.
Sammy.
Okay, trying to get Sammy to like play, to get him to play music and all that stuff. There's a reference to like a simulation with music in that, with the vampirism element of it, since they are a hive mind, which is an interesting element of vampirism. But I've heard that reference being alluded to, like I'm so bad. What was it? Limerick? What was that guy's name?
Remick.
Remick.
Remick. Okay, Remick trying to go after Sammy and trying to like Sammy having this unique music that can blend time and culture and different things was apparently like a reference to a simulation with music and like taking over a culture's music. So
Mhm. And
that's all.
and a lot of discussion on that. They said, it's soul music, and they're
Mhm.
always trying to steal our soul music.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
here it is, we have a place where we created soul music where they're
Mhm.
willing to kill everybody in there and reset it up again and claim it as theirs. And it's like this is an attack. So the vampire, white people are taking our soul music.
Yeah.
They're taking our souls,
Mhm.
literally taking our souls. And we're
That's
offering
deep
it
on a
up to
different
them.
level.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're offering it up to them. We're making all this for the people, but we're offering it up for them.
Yep. That's what I interpret it. And
Yeah.
it was cool to me when they were saying,
wow.
when they started praying, when Sammy started praying, and he was like, we can pray too. That's
Yeah.
not going to save
Oh
you.
man.
That's not going
Sure
to
did.
save you out here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he said when the people came and took over my people's lands, he said they said them same words. He said,
Yep.
but they comforted me. Yeah, they
Mhm.
didn't have no power, but they
Ain't no
comforted
problem.
me.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
There, there- there's
One
also
thing I was gonna say, go ahead, go ahead.
there's also on that like once Limerick Emmer,
Remy,
Remy,
Remick
Remy-
shoot once Remick died, that kind of broke the hive mind for Stack and Mary, so they were able to follow through on those promises at the end.
Mhm.
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 That's
The
it.
fact that he held his promise and let
Yep.
Sammy live the life he needed to live, then
Mhm.
offered to him, if you want to live forever, we'll let you live forever.
And Sammy, my guy, he came through like, I'm good.
Nah, I'm good.
yeah,
I've
He's
had
like, I'm
enough of
ready
this
to be
yeah.
place.
done. I'm
He
about to
said,
be
"Yeah, I've
out.
had enough of this place."
I have
You
a
know, he's like,
scar.
I'm not trying to stay like this, arthritis and
Yeah, I
but
got a scar on my face.
Yeah, look like I've been in a fight with Wolverine.
Yeah,
His face is
yeah,
toe up.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the one thing kind of going back to the biblical element is when Mary and Stack were planning, after Smoke said, no, y'all not coming in, like, let's be done. And then she was like, well, let me go and see. And Stack was like, I mean, maybe. It really was reminiscent of like the Eve. Do you know what I mean? Like Eve
Mhm.
going out to the garden, and she was the one that went out there. She was the one to
Mhm.
get the information. She was the one to get bit first. And
And
Mary
brought back the
already had
poison fruit.
and brought back the poison fruit, because Cornbread
Mm,
Yep.
didn't even think about inviting her in. He was like, yeah, go on and come in. What you mean?
I
mm-hmm.
had
And so
heard
then
that
she had
Eden
already
reference.
been in. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that Eden reference that the actual
Yeah.
Duke joint
Yeah.
was Eden. That's where
Yeah.
everything is perfect.
I can see it.
Y'all makes this very interesting.
What's that?
That once Mary and Stack both got bitten, they ran out of the juke joint. They were already inside. They didn't have to leave. They could have
Mm-hmm.
killed everybody in there.
Yep, they ran
Yeah.
out.
Nobody
Yeah,
knew
they
who they
left.
were. They left to
Yeah.
regroup with
That's
the outsiders.
yeah. But
Yeah.
also like
They turning people was fast. They grabbed everybody that left the party.
Everybody
They
left.
grabbed everybody, so they
yeah.
moved fast.
There's
Yeah, and
also
Mary left right away. She was like, I'll be back. And like
I'll be back.
They
I'll be
could have
back.
come back in though.
she
Yeah.
definitely could have. Stack hadn't been technically invited back in, but she had been. She's the
Yeah.
only one that could have come back in.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody revoked
Was
her
that
invitation.
was that past the point when Remick died?
He was
When
still alive then. He
No,
was
that
still
was
alive.
early.
Yeah.
That
Still
was
alive.
That
early
was
in the movie.
early.
Yeah.
That was
That
right
was
after she
early.
was turned.
Oh,
Yeah, because remember, Mary was the first one of the crowd turned, and and
yeah.
Cornbread was still sitting at the door inviting her in, and it was right after that Cornbread gave the door to Dumb, and then he got turned,
Mhm.
and then she turned.
Yes.
Mary turned Stack when she was inside.
Man, when they all had to eat that garlic and
That
Perline
was
didn't want
funny.
to eat that garlic.
I
That
was
was
like,
the
ooh.
That's
scene
like, oh
too.
yeah,
I
you
was
got
like,
to.
ooh, Perlene, you better go in. And
Perline, you
then
better eat that garlic.
when
Read the room, sis. Read the room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
and Delroy when he
Slim
choked.
start coughing.
Yeah,
He's like, give me a minute.
It's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Oh, I love
We're short
Delroy
on time, you
Lindo. Oh my
guys.
god.
So I'm gonna move through a bunch of questions I was gonna ask, but we don't have to ask them. It makes no sense to ask them. They've been talked about extensively on the internet. Do you think this runtime was too short or too long, or you think it was just right?
That's
2 hours and 13 minutes. I think
Yeah,
that's
2 hours
right.
17 minutes.
17 minutes.
I could have 30 to
137
40.
minutes long.
I could have did another 30 to 40 minutes. So it was
Yeah.
perfect for me. I was good.
It was great for me. I really do want more of this world and of these characters. So it was good.
That's gonna be my next question.
Yes,
Anybody else? Anybody
yes.
else?
I thought it was great. I thought it was perfect. The timing was just enough. If they had given
Centel?
me more, I would have accepted it. But
Mhm.
yeah.
hmm
Centel?
I was happy.
You're happy? Just happy? Okay. Do y'all want to see more of this universe?
Hell
It doesn't have
yeah.
to be this story, it doesn't be these characters, but more of this universe.
Yeah. I also want to learn more about like how the vampires operate. I thought that was a very interesting perspective on them, but also just more of Mary. Sorry, but I'm super bad at the names. The lady who threw the bones, who was in the
Annie.
That is
Annie.
Annie.
Annie. Okay. More of Annie's like hate seeking and
Mm-hmm.
detective elements. But there's just so much you can dive into with Kugler's like lore.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'm gonna be a contrarian, and I never thought I would say this. Nope.
You don't want to see
Mm-mm.
more?
No.
I'm with you, Rakai.
No.
Oh, man.
Only because this movie, especially being an original property, this movie is about as close to perfect as a movie as I've seen in a long, long time. If you don't have Michael B. Jordan back, you don't have Ryan Coogler back. Like, if you jump, think about like Star Wars, you got all types of people, all types of cooks in the kitchen. No, if it ain't the same people bringing it back, and we telling maybe a story with the twins when they was in Chicago or something else. I don't know how you bring the vampires and all that into it, but I don't no, I
Okay.
don't see nobody else do this.
I got one for you. I got one for you. Does this put a wrench in your thesis? Ryan Coogler has complete control of this universe, expanded or not expanded.
Yep.
Nobody else
Mhm.
does. The studio,
Yeah,
he says, I want it. The studio has to make it. They can't say, Ryan, we want another one. He has to make that determination. Does that change anything? If he
Uh,
says, I got a whole story about my family and I have it already written, I'm ready to make a TV show, would y'all be like, I'll be down to watch that?
As long as Coogler has control, that's my only thing.
yeah.
If Coogler is in complete control and has final
Mhm.
cut, yes, I absolutely want more. But if somebody else takes control of the IP, absolutely not. No, I'm good.
As a matter of fact, on that
yeah,
strength, yes, unless he steps back and just produces it, let somebody
Mhm.
else do it. I don't think I want that. I want
Him.
him directing again,
Yeah.
and the lady, the black and Filipino lady who what that was the cinematographer. She was magnificent,
Autumn.
and
Oh, she's
even though
amazing.
people talk about that they didn't like Wakanda Forever as a movie, her cinematography
It
in
was
that was
amazing.
chef's kiss.
Amazing.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
she's
so
amazing.
yeah, I need some of the same
Yes, you
people
can.
back.
Courtney.
Yes, you
okay.
can, Courtney.
Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, I feel the same way, Essentel. In theory, here's the thing. I don't need anything else. I think that it is the Hollywood way to want to like beat the horse until it's dead. But at the same time, I think this story is perfect. But if Ryan Coogler wanted to tell a story, because I would love to see a black creator, a black director, producer, writer have a franchise in this genre, I would absolutely support him taking this wherever he wants to take it. Like I think that I don't really get on board with Jordan Peele's like nope, didn't do it for me. And Us was lukewarm. But this I think that he definitely has a universe if he wanted it, but I don't need it. So I support his entrepreneurial
All right,
drive.
I got
what was you
one
gonna
take.
say,
Okay.
Randy?
Just
Go.
one take. Screenplay by Courtney Scott Wright. The next one in this series.
Ooh,
That's what
shit!
I'm
I
putting out
watched
there to the
that.
universe.
I
That's
have
what
to
I'm putting
watch
out
that.
there.
That's
That's
a
what I'm
Yeah.
hot
putting out
take.
there in the
Yeah.
universe. That's my hot take
That's
for
a
the
good
night.
take there.
Yeah.
Screenplay by
I'll
Courtney
take
Scott
Just,
that.
Wright.
yeah, yeah.
I agree with Courtney. I agree with y'all, but I think the one thing I'm interested in, my curiosity's piqued. That mid-credit scene. I want to
Which
see where
one?
that
The
the
mid credit, not the end
mid-credit
credit,
scene.
Yeah.
not the end one. The
Yeah,
mid credit, and they come into
Where
With the
they look
Coogee
like they
sweater.
straight
Mary
out of a
car.
different
Stack
world.
show up
They
on
look straight out of a different world. I don't
Yeah.
I was
I
watching
don't
the
need
Coogie
Four,
sweater
the
like
four
Biggie,
fingers
son.
on
I
the
love
Scat.
that
because
cookie
All the way
sweater.
down to the
because
socks with
it
rings
was
and white flowing
1992.
rock.
So
Yep.
yeah, so it
The
was supposed. I mean, he had the
stackings.
box and he had the
I
what I'm saying,
mean,
the
yeah,
chain.
The
I
stat.
thought
Yeah.
he looked like he was unique off of Raising Canaan. So I was like, okay, like
I saw it and
so.
I was like, Coogee sweater, and the kids beside me were like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh my
So,
god!"
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
they
All
were
he
they
needed
were.
was cross colors. All
I
he
mean,
needed was
didn't
cross
didn't
colors
Mary
with
have
some
on
jeans to the back.
didn't Mary have on like an 8-ball jacket?
She had an
Like
eight
Oh
ball
no,
she
Dave
jacket
Ricks
on.
did.
did eight
like
ball
Mhm.
jacket.
that was because remember the movie was set in 1932. That
Yep.
scene, the mid-credit scene, was 1992. It had jumped
Yep.
forward 60 years. So they were perfectly in the 90s I am kind of interested in them though. Like, where does that go? As a matter of fact, what if Stack became the Remick type figure? You know, we've never seen anything like that before. You know, the most we had was Eddie Murphy trying to be a vampire in Brooklyn. Like,
We ain't gonna talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
Oh,
mean,
this
but I
great
mean,
show.
Yeah.
Stack without Smoke as his conscience is the thing that would be. It would have to
interesting.
be something that was really, really powerful because I love those two brothers as
Mm-hmm.
a pair. So it was enough to see him in the 90s for me. That's why
mhm.
it would have to be a completely different, follow a different path, a different story. And I know
Yeah,
he
I don't
has
know what the
several, you
yeah, I don't
know?
know what the story would be, but I think
See,
I'm
I
Yeah.
guess
interested in that. Even if they did something where they brought Michael B. Jordan in as another character that he's not his twin brother, but he's like a doppelganger, and it
see,
it throws Stack off for a little bit. I don't know.
I
Mm-hmm.
guess
Something.
for
I'm
me, like
interested. I'm interested in them too.
I guess for me, like I agree, like Ryan Coogler to come back, Black Castle and stuff. But there's so many stories that, like, I mean, I just feel like there's a lot that was in this world already. But there's so many stories, especially in the South and like Southern Gothic or Southern vampire, etc. hates already that could be
Yeah.
told. That I can really see it come through Ryan Coogler's like universe they can set and everything. So just like there's so many references, music, both in history of South and like fantasy kind of horror or hate element of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just it doesn't even have to be films. It could be shows, or it could be comics. It could be books.
Books,
Uh, so many
games.
mediums. Yeah, immersive experiences.
Yeah, immersive experience. Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but there's
Would
just so
this
much.
would this universe work better as kind of like an anthology series, like a American Horror Story or something like that, based on what Catherine just said? Because the way Catherine just laid that out, I could watch that. I think
Mhm.
I was stuck on seeing Ryan Coogler directing Michael B. Jordan again.
No, no.
But we
So
don't have to have that. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm
Mm-mm.
like what
saying. Like it would
she,
That's
have
what
to
I'm
be,
saying.
that's what I was saying. Like it would have to be within the universe,
Universe.
but
I said
not the same. It's a
universe.
different story,
Different
Mm-mm.
not
story.
the same
There's
characters at
Yeah.
all.
Like
I
Peter
yeah,
mean,
Griffin
there's
came in, like take the Anne Rice
yeah.
route. Like
yeah.
explore hoodoo.
Well,
I
there's
felt
a
like
go ahead, please.
Go ahead,
sorry, I felt
Catherine.
like Lovecraft Country, like even though it kind of had anthology elements, and I assumed the next one was gonna be an anthology, but it seemed like it was gonna be written really weird and follow some people. But I feel like they could go. I'm kind of glad that part got canceled. I saw the vision, I'm like I don't know about that, but I feel like that again, agreeing with the anthology could be different stories, different people, different characters in that world, in
Be
different
dope.
time periods.
That would be dope.
Mhm.
What you're asking for is already kind of halfway happened. There's a comic I referenced earlier, Bitterroot. It's
Yep.
fantastic. You need to read Bitterroot. It's incredible. And Regina King is owns the rights, at least the cinematic rights to it. And originally, Ryan Coogler was on the short list to kind of direct it. I don't know if that's still happening. And there's rumors that say that maybe that's the reason why he did Sinners, because he had a story already in his head that could have been somewhere connected into the Bitterroot verse. The unfortunate thing, what happened with Regina King, and she's bouncing back as a result of that. Everybody on the nets is like, please, whatever that thing that you had with the possibility of bringing Coogler back for Bitterroot, please, please, please make that happen, because based off of what I've seen, it could fit in the Bitterroot verse. It
Mm,
really could. It could just be a
mm,
story. It could be the thing to kick off. It could be the Iron Man. What Iron Man did to the MCU, Sinners could do to the Bitterroot verse. So
mm.
what you all are saying is in the world of possibility. We just need that
Don't
to
know yet.
happen. Yeah, we just
Don't
need the
know.
internet to keep pushing and being like,
One
yes.
thing that's probably for certain that's never going to happen again is like Misha Green and Ryan Coogler work together, because that could be very interesting in itself. Here's the woman that brought us Lovecraft Country and the way it came out, and her working with Ryan Coogler could make something great. But
Mm,
Warner Brothers is not having it.
mm-hmm.
They
Mhm.
let her go, so I'm pretty sure she doesn't care to work
Well,
with Warner Brothers anymore.
Well,
yeah, because that, I mean, we still, well, I mean, we're off, that's off topic in terms of like her and
Hmm.
Lovecraft and the
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the
Didn't
history of that.
But she'd been a
she,
great person to serialize something.
she didn't get along with people. Wasn't that the?
That's what they tell
No,
us.
that's
They
what they
say they
say.
say
That's
that
the
in
No.
life.
story.
That's
That's the common story
we
for
never
every
get along
black
with people once they
person,
don't like us
right?
no more.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
every black person has they're
Yeah.
difficult to work with. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Yeah, somebody sees you as a threat and then
yeah.
they
Mhm.
decide to take you off the board. And that has happened to me a couple of times.
So I scratch
Yeah.
my head anytime I hear somebody's difficult or hard.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's keep this positive, you guys. Let's keep this positive. We'll go down this
Sorry,
rabbit
guys.
hole.
We're going off topic.
Let's keep it
Yeah.
I was
positive.
like,
Okay.
let's stay away from that one.
Okay. We're gonna end this. We're gonna end this right now. It's received a cinema score for R-rated movie. It got the highest cinema score ever with an A. No horror movie has ever gotten an A before. Closest thing to it was A Quiet Place Part 2, got an A minus. And this got an A. Yeah, that's what I said too, Centil. That's what I said. I made the same exact face. Like A Quiet Place Part 2.
Quiet Place Part 2?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay, sure.
Was it bad?
Well, there's been a
No,
couple,
it's not
but
bad, but
No.
it ain't an A.
there's been a
I think
couple.
I think they've looked at, I listen, I agree, but I think they're looking at it from the emotional content. No, they felt because of Lupita's performance and the character that she was playing that I can see that that's why like the critics gave it a A minus, even though the first one, I mean technically that's three, you know,
Technically, it's
quite
the third one.
yes, technically that's the third one.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, so it's got a 98% on Metacritic. It got a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's like an 80 something on Metacritic last time I checked.
what, A
Uh
Quiet Place 3?
no.
Sinners.
Sinners dropped down to 80 because when I looked, it was
98 on
98,
on
97.
on Rotten Tomato, but Metacritic is different.
I thought Rotten Tomatoes
Oh,
was Rotten Tomatoes.
98. It's 98 and 96 is the audience
Oh,
score.
90. I thought you were saying 89 for some reason. But
It's
yeah.
80s on Metacritic. 80 something.
what's
I think, on
Metacritic? Okay, what?
Metacritic
Is-
is another aggregator. It's another aggregator.
Oh.
It got of things that got A minuses are like Silence of the Lambs, Get Out, Five Nights at Freddy, The Lost Boys, The Conjuring 2. What would y'all give this on a scale? Would this get an A, a B, a C, a D, a A plus? What would y'all give this on a scale if you had to scale it? It's a horror movie, rated R horror movie. That too.
A plus.
A plus.
And I'm not sold on the whole horror thing, but it's an A plus 100%.
Yeah.
I love it. I think artistically speaking, I think it's Coogler's best work.
Okay.
Yeah. Agreed.
You think it's better than Fruitvale, artistically speaking?
Yeah, because Fruitvale, you
Yeah.
could tell he's still learning the craft. Like now he's a master craftsman, you know, chipping away at this thing. But
And he has his
learning.
team.
Yeah, and
Do
Fruitvale
we-
is excellent. I'm not taking nothing away from Fruitvale is excellent, but
Yeah.
it was his first big thing, and you can kind of see it's like, okay, you haven't perfected your
But
craft
and
yet.
not only that, not only in Fruitvale is Ryan Coogler still learning, but Michael B. Jordan is still
Jordan.
growing in the craft in Fruitvale. By the time
Oh,
the way
yeah.
he played, the way he played Smoke and Stack,
Oh God,
Yeah.
it was
I
brilliant.
mean,
almost
hands
thought that
down.
they was two separate damn
Two
people.
separate people,
I was
absolutely.
like, oh, I was like, when
Absolutely.
he get
And
a
I
real twin?
wondered-
He got a real twin.
I wondered if he might get, if this like one of the, something that would get him nominated, like Jack Nicholson in Cuckoo's Nest or in The Shining. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I could see Ryan getting, you know,
Here's my only issue.
or
with
Ryan,
that.
not Ryan, Michael B. Jordan, but Sinners could also be nominated as a Best Picture.
My only issue with giving him that nod is that Tom Hardy did such a tremendous job in Legend, and you can't not compare it. You can't not. And it's not that, but it's really good. But it's
What he
it's
did-
not Legend.
It's
close,
not,
though. Yeah.
But you're right, but he's still, it's different time period. It's just different. Like,
They're both period pieces.
No. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay.
2025
Yeah.
to like, when Hardy came out, like when Legends came out. What was that, like 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
Something
Mhm.
like that?
Mhm.
I don't know. We're in this age where the major, what is it? The Oscars they're trying to redeem themselves.
Yeah, he's gonna get a
Oh,
nod. He's
I
gonna
I
yeah.
think
he's
I think
gonna
he
He
get a
might
needs to get
get
nomination.
one. He
I'm not
needs to
saying
get
he's
one.
gonna win, but
He's
I
gonna get the
think that
nomination.
he has
He
been
needs to get a
around
nom.
enough that I think that they will probably give him like, oh, this will be your first nom. You know
Does
what
he
I
get one
mean?
for smoke or stack? Which one? I'm just joking.
Hey, ask him
Smoke
who your
and
favorite
say
Coke
you're a
is.
fool.
No, honestly, I want Sinners to have the same Lord of the Rings treatment, Return of the King, and just get everything. Just give it all. I mean, I know there's still other movies out there, but just get everything.
Yeah, I
I
want to
mean,
get
if
nominated for
Parasite can get
everything.
nominated, Sinners can get nominated.
I think if most of these movies can get nominated for anything, it's in there with all of them, from
Got
the
enough.
film
Yeah.
It's
format,
got
the
enough
play
black
with film
trauma.
formats.
It's got enough
I,
black trauma to satiate white viewers. So
wow,
let's keep it a
wow.
buck. Let's
He
keep
just
it a
told
That's
the
buck.
true.
truth,
That's
though.
true.
He
That is
just told
true.
the
That
truth.
is
You're
true.
not
White
wrong.
people need
He
to
just
see
told the
black
truth.
trauma.
That is true.
So
That
Yeah,
is true.
Yeah.
you're not wrong. You're
Yeah,
not wrong.
it's
That
true.
is true.
That's
Yeah.
why I
I.
laughed. I think I was uncomfortable with the fact that you
That's so
weren't
true.
wrong.
That is true.
It's
Yeah,
probably you'd be
It has
surprised at
enough
how
black
many
on
of them.
black violence to get it nominated
Yeah,
too.
you'd be
and it has
surprised at
some
how many of
jumping
them
and
went to the
jiving.
theater and saw them group of boys at the end that rode up on smoke. They're like, wait, aren't they the heroes?
Hmm.
we didn't even talk about that scene, but that's another conversation.
That's a whole other conversation. The
Another
internet has
I
killed
mean,
that
conversation.
scene.
I thought it was self-explanatory.
Hey,
Yeah, it doesn't need conversation.
I need
We
You
to
know.
move
know.
I'm
faster.
sure the white people talking about it,
Um,
but we know.
I'm gonna tell y'all one of the most powerful scenes in that
Mhm.
was the end credit scene. I'm gonna close on this. Sammy playing blues as a Buddy Guy playing the Buddy Guy song at the very end there, and killing it at the
Yeah.
very end, the closing scene in the church his father was in.
Yeah, playing
That
this
guitar
little light of mine.
was everything.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
young man learned that in 5 months, which is insane.
Insane,
Yeah.
Here's
insane.
the thing
Played
that was
that well.
beautiful about that end scene was if you look at what he was wearing playing the guitar, that was like before the nights, the adventures of the vampires and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he was playing the blues in the church, you could tell that was the only place where he was truly free. And
Yeah.
that was what made that so beautiful. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like when he got out of the car at the very beginning of the movie, that's what the little kids choir, that's what they were singing when he went into his father's
Mhm.
church.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mhm.
all that.
On top of the fact too that we did not mention that his father was played by Saul Williams is
Mhm.
another masterful stroke in casting.
Mhm. Mhm.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of
there was
reference.
just
That's a Morehouse brother.
there's just so much power in those church scenes because the scene when he comes in, the scene when it flashes back and he will not give up that guitar even after everything he's been
Yeah.
through. After
Yeah.
everything he's been through and how that guitar, like what the guitar went through, not,
Yeah.
even knowing the history of it, that was their daddy's guitar. It wasn't the one, like Clive Payne or whoever he said it was. It wasn't that guy. It was their dad's guitar, and then it got, he tried to use it to save his life. The guitar, which was his life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like there was so much symmetry around that instrument and his unwillingness to ultimately give it up, even after
Well,
everything Smoke said, everything he went through. And then he went to have this longevity of a career, and then to see him at the end, back at the beginning,
mhm.
was
Mhm.
just so powerful.
Yeah.
Or
Also with that guitar
when he
scene.
played for Stack and Mary in the 90s, and he had put that guitar back together. And that
Yes.
Mm-hmm. No, he also told them he's like it was the best night of his life before it all
Yeah.
went to hell. Or before it
Yeah.
went to hell. It was the greatest
They
night of my life.
It was eating.
It was.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
also the reference to freedom. Like it was the night where they were all free.
Mm-hmm.
that was what was
Yeah.
powerful to me. Was the night of
Yeah.
freedom, describing the
Yeah.
freedom.
It was a night
Smoke
of
was dead
freedom.
wrong for telling them about him winning it in the gambling game. He
For
was
the
dead wrong.
What?
the man that
Exactly what I
created
told you.
blues to the man from the
He
man
was
that
dead
created
wrong.
blues.
Wait, sorry. What? What?
When he told
In
him, when Smoke told him they wanted it a gambling game.
a card game.
In a
Yeah.
card game.
Yeah, they won the guitar in the card game.
And Stack was like, man, you don't be listening to that fool.
He be lying.
My daddy's guitar.
Oh,
My daddy's
yeah.
What you doing?
Yeah.
Good peoples. I got a little emergency that's popped off, so I got to run.
Oh, we're about to close now anyway.
Yeah, thank y'all. This has been incredible. I love talking about this movie. I could do this all day long. So, thank y'all. I gotta go.
All right, peace. That's our cue to move to
Oh, God.
closing.
Oh, God.
Us Chris scared it. Chris scared you. You thought you had a haint in there, didn't you? You thought you had a haint in there. First of all, thank you all for tuning in to a special edition of Geek Beast, where we cover the movie Sinners, brought to you by Ryan Coogler and Warner Brothers. Let's say Ryan Coogler, because it's gonna be his in 25 years, and this is gonna exist 25 years in the future. So to Ryan Coogler's film, Sinners, I'd like to give a shout out to Randy, Courtney, Trey, and Catherine. Do any of y'all have something to say? Y'all want to share anything before we get out of here?
Goodbye from.
Oh, go ahead.
Goodbye from Memphis. I'm in the Delta too, so yeah, Memphis in the Delta.
Mine is super quick. Don't walk, run, and support Bitterroot, the comic.
Yes.
Okay.
Show some love.
Yes.
That's
Don't they
Wednesday
have
we
a
got
new
binge
version
worthy.
out? Don't they have a new one out that just dropped? Like a reboot of that Bitterroot?
That I don't
Maybe.
know.
Maybe.
I'll be here on
I
the
thought
internet
that
to find out.
I thought that I read that somewhere.
Okay.
Wait, what?
That there's a new version of a release, like something to do with
Bitterroot.
Bitterroot, like a newer one.
Huh. I'll have to check that out. I need
I
to.
have like the first
have
two
the
issues.
first-
I haven't read them yet. They're sitting in a box.
I
got
have
'em
one
before I
and
moved.
3.
Yeah.
Join us Wednesday for After Geek Beast for binge worthy. We're doing Mythic Quest.
Yes.
Mythic Quest remix. Since they remixed it, I want to give a shout out to Rodney Cajudo for being our technical producer and our technical director. Shouts out to the Funk for contributing to the actual story, give me all the notes I need and talking points and whatnot. He assisted in that. Shouts out to Digital Click for always handling our marketing materials and whatnot. You'll see some of that come up this week. And shout out to Peter Griffin, Miss K May. Randy's here already for joining us in the chat. Peter Griffin had a lot to say, you guys. He said this is one thing that stuck out to me. Even the vamps yelled no when he took her out. When he killed Annie. Yeah, the vamps were like, no, like, because they were having our thoughts of Mary and Stack. And that was brilliant. That was brilliantly done. Thank y'all for tuning in. We hope to see y'all Wednesday where we have Geek Beast, traditional Geek Beast, and we'll have Binge Worthy where we're covering Mythic Quest. With that being said, peace.
Peace. Yeah. Yeah. Memphis.